Hey everyone, this is a Black Intellectual just coming in to give you my perspective on the election and finally getting my voice out there on YouTube for talking about the dynamics in the Black community, maybe even the elections and stuff like that. So it's just really good to be here on YouTube, and I'm just excited to be here. So my first video, and I'm here to give it a shot. I'm honestly just going to talk about the election. Honestly, how Kamala Harris lost the election was pretty much how I assumed she would lose. It was pretty much like, okay, well, Biden flunked the presidential debate. The Democrats panicked. They said, well, let's just throw Kamala in there because she's a black woman and people are going to vote for that because it's a new historical thing and history is about to be a big deal. And it just didn't work. It was a failure. It was a miserable failure. And the problem behind it all isn't even that she failed. It was the way they set her up to fail. You know what I mean? You throw her on the ballot 3 months before the election. She got some kind of campaign together. Everything came together because the Democrats rallied behind her. Black women donated money, which proves that when push comes to shove, black people can get our ish together. But it also goes to show how little that impacts on a broader scale, because let's be honest, it was a dumb move in the first place on the Democrats' fault, and I'm honestly kind of glad she lost, because the Democrats kind of needed to learn their lesson. I think it was more like you can't shame a group of people and then expect these people to vote for you, right? And all throughout October, it was a crap show. You had Magic Johnson at a rally, then Barack Obama, then Spike Lee, then Michelle Obama, all within the weeks of October, shaming men into voting for Kamala by calling them misogynist, or they're just scared of a woman being president. And let's be honest, black men are probably the most progressive voters out of any male demographic. You know what I'm saying? There's no real thing that indicates black men aren't progressive in the voting polls. We showed up for Hillary Clinton in 2016, and it shows that we showed up for Kamala Harris too. Now, that's just the percentage of black men who voted. We don't know how many black men sat out. We don't know how many black men voted third party. You know what I mean? So it's good to show that, black men are at least putting our hands in to the political side more often than we used to, because 20 years ago this would not have been a thing. And I think it's good to see that black men specifically have decided, you know what, the Democrats haven't done a damn thing for us. Why are we voting for them? Why are we giving them our vote? And it's interesting to think that finally black men specifically are finally starting to put the pieces together. I'm hoping black women follow behind this, but unfortunately it just does not seem like it's going to happen anytime soon. And I hope by 2028 that demographic changes. Because let's be honest, black people have been voting Democrat religiously for over half a century. Our neighborhoods and our schools still look the same. If anything, some of our neighborhoods and schools look worse than they did in the 80s. And that was the crack epidemic. And I just don't understand how we've been voting for this party who's been targeting us specifically and nobody else, and asking us for our vote and this, that, and third. And then we put our vote in the ring, and then it's like, we'll see you in 4 years. Everybody else gets something from the Democrats but us, but we vote for them at the highest rate, and we keep falling for it. And I think the conversation happening in 2024 was another indicator on why Kamala Harris lost. Because there was no way you could run off of just going the black people when you know we're not the largest demographic in the country. Yes, did this election prove that black people can swing the election? A little bit, but let's be honest, Hispanic men and white women showed up crazy for Trump this year. And the white women numbers aren't really that different from the 2016 numbers. So we need to start really thinking about how it got to the point of, Kamala Harris losing was the fact that, let's be honest, her and black women alike kind of played themselves, because they thought, hey, maybe white women will show up and do for a woman of color what they didn't even do for a white woman back in 2016, was show up. They just didn't do it. They voted for Trump. White women made Donald Trump president in 2016, and it's very prevalent here in 2024 that white women still had a large hand in Donald Trump's vote getting to being the president. So we got to start to think, well, wow. So black women have been told that they're going to get all this support from women of other races. And yes, Asian women probably showed up heavy for Kamala Harris, and Hispanic women damn sure did, but white women didn't as much. And I think that should be a sign to black women of saying, okay, look, it's just us. Like, nobody's really voting for the blue party as much as we are. Like, an 88% rate is insane. And knowing the information that we know, knowing that like the Democrats have basically put the black family against each other, basically don't support black people being together, and we still show up at a weird rate for a long time voting for them. Black men are starting to stray away, and it's a good thing. And I see black women doing it, but it's smaller. It's a smaller dose, and it's not as quick as I would like. And I think that's what a lot of men are saying. But I think we're starting to see like a nice little shift in the black community where black people are just like, yo, the Democrats really ain't moving correctly. And I can go off the strength of being from Philadelphia. I'm born and raised Philly. And I can tell y'all, we've not had a Republican mayor since 1952. So 74 years ago, and the black neighborhoods and the schools look the same. And it just doesn't add up to me because, you know, it's always like, oh, black people this, we're here for you this, we want that. And then when it's time to show up for black people after we vote for you, you play in our face. And I think it was more of like a rupture of that. It's more like a historical rupture on why Kamala Harris eventually lost the election. It was just, they set her up, you know, she was put on 3 months before the election. People were already mad about the Biden administration as it was. And then you had to put in the fact that black people, specifically the men, thank God the men are finally starting to wake up, is that we realize that the Democrats haven't really been there for us. If anything, the Democrats have been egregiously against black men way more than they've been against black women. And I think men have decided, you know what, we're going to go the other direction because the direction we've been supporting nonstop just doesn't ride with us. And like I said, you can go into other big cities and look at the black communities. And if you pay attention to the states, it's only really super blue in the cities where black people mostly reside. You go out to them rural areas, it's not that many black people out there, it's mostly white people. And that makes up the numbers too. Donald Trump went to those middle America countries, and he went to states like Montana and Nevada and Nebraska and all them other places and got those people to vote for him, where Kamala only focused on the cities. But the cities ultimately don't matter that much. You still got to get the people that nobody talks to out in those rural states, which is where she also failed in her marketing campaign. That's just my personal opinion. If anyone else agrees, you know, let me know in the comments. You know, like I said. And honestly, it was a good thing to see. I just wish the black community could see on a larger scale where the Democrats have taken our community, because it really needs to be talked about. And it's like, we are talking about it. 2024 was the year of us talking about it. Now I'm hoping 2025, 6, 7, and 8 are the years we put our issues into motion, because it needs to happen. I think my big thing was, you know, I didn't vote. I didn't vote in 2024 because I knew that neither party is really on the black people's team. And I'm not telling anybody else to not vote, you know, but I'm saying I didn't vote based off what I knew. I don't really like Donald Trump as a person. And I just don't like the Democrats for what they've done to black people. So I pulled my vote away. Now, nobody else has to do that because, yes, your vote does matter. And I think this election showed that when 23 to 25% of black men voted for Donald Trump. That's a big change, and that number is probably going to grow by 28. Now, 9% of black women, as we've seen, voted for Trump. I think that number might jump to like 12 to 15% for the Republican Party by black women in 2028. I genuinely think if the Republicans actually act like they got some sense and do right by the country, I think they have a chance to take the election again 4 years from now. So, you know, this is just something we got to think about. But Kamala Harris, yeah, I think she'll probably try to campaign again, but she shot herself in the foot with that Howard University situation where she didn't even talk to the students. I think she showed a real malicious kind of petty side. But yeah, she lost the election. You know, she would have been the first woman president. She would have been a woman of color, whether she's black or not. It doesn't matter to me. And I think this is a sign of like, look, she didn't even hold down the leadership position when the ship went down. And if it's one thing you do as a leader, you go down with the ship. Everybody else gets off first. But she slid. And I think that's the problem right there. That's a bad John. That's a bad John, Kamala. So I think what black people need to do is to really rally together. I'm proud of black people this election, and I want to continue to be proud of black people going forward. And I think that's just my 2 cents on the thing. And I'll let you guys do the rest of the talking down in the comments. Let me know what you think. Like, comment, and subscribe for more.